I'm back with yet another lesson from grade 9th English, and today is a very important lecture because it is the last lecture from your book Moments. The lesson's name is, the chapter's name is The Beggar. Okay, we all know what a beggar is. Someone who begs for money for his livelihood, someone who doesn't do anything but he just seeks money from other for his daily needs. To fulfill his daily needs, he requires money and he asks it off from the other people, and he doesn't do any work. So beggar, this chapter is from Moments, and this is the 10th chapter from your Moments, and here the syllabus from Moments concludes. Now we only have 2 chapters from the Beehive, from the textbook Beehive, remaining 2 chapters and 2 poems. This will be the last chapter from Moments, and it is yet another remarkable story from the book. It is written by Anton Chekhov. Okay, Anton Chekhov. Anton Chekhov is a famous Russian author, and he has written quite good stories. One of this story, The Beggar, is a very famous one, and it is about a person who begs, and his name is Lashkov. Okay, Lashkov, who pretends to be a former school teacher. Okay, so Lashkov pretends to be a former school teacher. He says that he used to teach in a school in his village, and because of some conspiracies against him, he lost his job, and then he became a beggar. This person, Lashkov, is not only a beggar, but he is a very big alcoholic. Okay, alcoholic, and that is also known as a drunkard. Okay, so Lashkov is a very big alcoholic, and he begs for his survival, and he meets one day another important character from the story, Sergey. Okay, Sergey. Sergey is an advocate. Sergey is an advocate, and he shows pity on Lashkov, and he takes him to his home because Lashkov was very weak, and this man couldn't see it, and he took him to his home, and there the story continues. So in the story, one more character will be there, the old lady who works at Sergey's place. Name of that lady is Olga. Okay, so these 3 prominent characters are there in your book. First is Lashkov, who is the beggar, Sergey, the advocate, and Olga. So the story revolves around these 3 major characters, and we are going to see what happens with this beggar and how the story unfolds. So I am Aman from PPS Advani Damacha. You are watching video classes. Let's together read a very interesting story, the last story from your book Moments, The Beggar.
So let us now begin the chapter The Beggar. Let's read together to find out what happens with the beggar Lashkov and how Sergey, the kind advocate, helped him, and what is the role of the cook, the old lady Olga. So we will together find it out. So let's begin from the book Moments, the last chapter, The Beggar, written by, as you all know, Anton Chekhov. What induced the beggar Lashkov to change his ways? Let's read and find out. So induce means what force, what made him change his ways. What ways? As I've told you earlier, that the beggar was not only a beggar, Lashkov was not only a beggar, he was a drunkard. And later on, you will find that many bad aspects of his personality will come into the picture when we will together read the story. So let's now begin the story. The beggar. So, kind sir, have pity, turn your attention to a poor, hungry man. For 3 days I have had nothing to eat. I haven't 5 kopecks for a lodging. I swear it before God. So, the opening lines of your story are very common lines used by any beggar. Kind sir, have pity, turn your attention to a poor, hungry man. For 3 days I have had nothing to eat. Okay, so beggar starts off with pleading. He pleads to the people around him that I am a poor fellow and I have had nothing to eat. Please give me your attention. Please give me some food or whatever you have, money. So, kind, you're very kind, have some pity on me, have some pity on a poor chap. Like this, he goes. Then he says, I haven't 5 kopecks. Kopecks, the meaning of kopecks, like in Indian currency, we have a rupee, there we have ruble, and 1 rupee equal to 100 paisa, there 1 ruble equal to 100 kopecks. For a lodging, some work he did. I swear it before God. For 8 years, I was a village school teacher, and then I lost my place through intrigues. Intrigues means conspiracies. I fell a victim to calumny. Calumny means when someone creates a rumor, when someone talks bad about some person to damage their reputation. It is a year now since I have had anything to do. So he's saying that I am jobless from past 1 year, and therefore I am so poor. The advocate Sergi looked at the wretched fawn-colored overcoat. Wretched means the torn cloth. Fawn-colored, fawn you all know, the light brownish color overcoat of the suppliant at his dull drunken eyes. Okay, so his drunken eyes, his dull personality, ragged torn cloth he was wearing. The advocate Sergi looked over this kind of a person who was begging. He had red spot on either cheek because of over drinking. He had that swelling on his cheeks. It seemed to him as if he had seen this man somewhere before. So Saji thought that he must have known him, or he must have seen this beggar somewhere before. I have now had an offer of a position in the province of Kaluga. The beggar goes on. After that, he tells that because of conspiracies and calumny, I am being thrown from my job, and from past 1 year, I have been jobless. Now he goes ahead and he says, I had now an offer for a position in the province of Kaluga. The mendicant went on. Mendicant means that beggar. But I haven't the money to get there. So he says that I don't have the money to go to Kaluga and work there. Help me kindly. I am ashamed to ask. He says that please, oh please help me. I am very much ashamed to ask for any help, but I am obliged to by circumstances. So he says, I am very ashamed that I have to beg, but what can I do? Situation is such. Sergey's eyes fell on the man's overshoes, one of which was high and the other low. So he was wearing two different boots. Okay, one was very high, one was very low. And he suddenly remembered something. Look here, it seems to me I met you the day before yesterday in Sadovia Street, he said. So the advocate Sergey said, look, the day before yesterday, 2 days back, I saw you in the Sadovia Street. But you told me then that you were a student who had been expelled and not a village school teacher. Do you remember? So here the lie of the beggar Lushkov was very much into the picture, and Sergey caught him that 2 days back you were a student, now you're saying I was a schoolmaster. So what is this? No, no, no. That can't be so, mumbled the beggar. He mumbled and he was taken aback. I'm a village school teacher, sir, and if you like, I can show you my papers. Okay, so he said, I am a village school teacher and I have my documents with me. I can prove you that I am not a school student but a teacher. I was a school teacher. Have done with lying. You called yourself a student and even told me that you had been expelled for. Don't you remember? So Sergey, being an advocate, he was very much staunch in his approach. He was very stern. He was very strict, and he said that done with your lying, and I am very much sure that you said all that thing, and you said that I was expelled from the school. Sergey flushed and turned from the wretched creature with an expression of disgust. So he showed very much of hatred, disgust, that what kind of a fellow he is, a drunkard, a beggar, a liar. So he, in disgust, turned away. Okay, this is dishonesty, my dear sir, he cried angrily. So this is swindling. I shall send the police for you, damn you. So cried here doesn't mean that he cried. He was so much in anger that he raised his voice. He was saying that this is very much a dishonesty. This is swindling. This is lying. This is treachery. I shall send the police for you, damn you. Sir, he said, laying his hand on his heart, the fact is, I was lying. I'm neither a student nor a school teacher. All that was fiction. Formerly, I sang in a Russian choir, okay, and was sent away for drunkenness. So he said that I used to sing in a Russian choir. And what is a choir? A choir is a group of singers which sing in a church, okay, like in your school also Christmas carols are there. That group is called a choir. Any group, a music group, choir. So he said that I was formerly I used to sing in a Russian choir and was sent away for drunkenness because I had too much of drinking habit in me. But what else can I do? I can't get along without lying. No one will give me anything when I tell the truth. What can I do? So he said, if I will say that I am a drunkard and because of my drinking habit I was thrown away from the choir, and this I will tell, then who will give me money? So I have to weave the stories. I have to create such fictitious stories. What can you do? You ask what you can do, cried Sergey, coming close to him. Work, that's what you can do. You must work. So Sergey said, you are asking me that what can I do in such a situation? You must work. You must work for your livelihood. Work? Yes, I know that myself, but where can I find work? How would you like to chop wood for me? Sergey replied. Sergey retorted. So Lushkov said that, okay, I am willing to work, but tell me where can I find work? So Sergey replied back that, okay, you can work for me, you can chop wood for me. I wouldn't refuse to do that. Okay, but in these days even skilled woodcutters find themselves sitting without bread. Okay, he said that I will be very much happy to work, very much happy to chop the wood, but here in these days the skilled ones, the professional woodcutters are having no job. Where I will find this work? Will you come and chop wood for me? Sergey said that, okay, you can come and chop the wood for me. Yes, sir, I will. Very well, we will soon find out. So the beggar said, okay, sir, I will come and I will do the work. Very well, we will soon find out, said Sergey. Sergey hastened along, rubbing his hands. He called his cook out of the kitchen. So they reached their home. He called his cook out of the kitchen. Here, Olga, he said, take this gentleman into the wood shed and let him chop wood. So the advocate told his cook that take this man to the forest and to the woodshed and let him chop. The scarecrow of a beggar shrugged his shoulders as if in perplexity and went irresolutely after the cook. So he went after the cook. He was very perplexed, he was very confused, he was very tired. He wanted that he shrugged his shoulders. Straight away he had to work. It was obvious from his gait that he had not consented to go and chop wood because he was hungry and wanted work, but simply from pride and shame and because he had been trapped by his own words. So he was not working because he wanted to earn some hard earned money, but because of his pride, and he wanted to prove that he is a very proudy person. He has his dignity, his respect with him. Because of that, he agreed and came for Sergey. It was obvious too that his strength had been undermined by vodka. So because of alcohol consumption, his strength was also not there. He was very weak. He only had drink and he was not taking proper diet because all the money that he begged was spent for the alcohol. Sergey hurried into the dining room. From its windows, one could see the woodshed and everything that went on the yard. So Sergey went to his dining room, and from there he was looking. Standing at the window, Sergey saw the cook and the beggar come out into the yard by the back door and make their way across the dirty snow to the shed. So he looked at his cook and his new woodcutter were coming to the woodshed. Olga glared wrathfully at her companion, shoved him aside with her elbow, unlocked the shed, and angrily banged the door. So Olga was very angered, and she closed the door with her elbow, closed the door very harshly, and pushed the beggar away from her elbow. Next, he saw the pseudo teacher sit himself on a log and become lost in thought with his red cheeks resting on his feet. The woman flung down an axe at his feet, spat angrily, and judging from the expression of her lips, began to scold him. So the beggar was sitting on a log and he was very tired. The woman was looking like as if she was scolding, she was abusing the beggar. The beggar pulled a billet of wood towards him, set it up between his feet, and tapped it weakly with his axe. With the axe, the billet wavered and fell down. The beggar again pulled it to him, blew on his freezing hands, and tapped it with his axe cautiously, as if afraid of hitting his overshoe or cutting off his finger. The stick of wood again fell to the ground. So see, the beggar was not able to cut the wood properly. Whenever he was trying to put it, it was falling down, and what was happening, he was very weak, he was very feeble, and he did not had any strength to cut the wood. Sergey's anger had vanished, and he now began to feel a little sorry and ashamed of himself for having set a spoiled, drunken, perhaps sick man to work at menial labor in the cold. An hour later, Olga came in and announced that the wood had all been chopped. So Sergey was feeling very bad that he has asked this weak drunkard to do the work and how he is struggling. After an hour, Olga came and told that the wood has been cut. Good, give him half a ruble, said Sergey. If he wants to, he can come back and cut wood on the first day of each month. We can always find work for him. He said that we will find some work for him. You give him half a ruble. Half a ruble means 50 kopecks, and we can find work for him every first of the month. On the first of month, the waif made his appearance and again earned half a ruble. Although he could barely stand on his legs, from that day on he appeared in the yard, and every time work was found for him. Okay, so what happened? Every month he started coming and work was there for him. Now he would shovel snow, now put the wood shed in order, now beat the dust out of rugs and mattresses. Every time he received from 20 to 40 kopecks, and at once even a pair of old trousers was sent out to him. So every time he found some work and every time he earned some money. When Sergey moved into another house, he hired him to help in the packing and hauling of the furniture. So when Sergey was moving to some other house, the poor fellow helped him do the packing. This time the waif was sober. Now the drinking was gone. Gloomy, very cheerful, and very silent. He was very silent. He hardly touched the furniture and walked behind the wagons, hanging his head, not even making a pretense of appearing busy. He only shivered in the cold and a pretense and became embarrassed when the carters jeered at him for his idleness, his feebleness, and his tattered fancy overcoat. After the moving was over, Sergey sent for him. Okay, so he was very polite, he was very silent, he was not trying to show that he is overburdened with work or anything that he used to do earlier. Sergey asked for him. Then, well, I am happy that my words have taken effect, he said. Okay, Sergey said, well, I am happy that you have become a common man, a normal man. You are not drinking, you are a very serious man now. Handing him a ruble, he gave 1 ruble to him. Here's for your pains. I see you are sober and have no objection to work. So he said, here's for your pains, okay, whatever pain you have gone through, and I now feel that you are not an alcoholic anymore and have no objection to work. What is your name? Now he asked him the name. Earlier we knew, I told you the name of the beggar, but now Sergey came to know that what his actual name was. Lushkov. Well, Lushkov, I can now offer you some other cleaner employment. Can you write? I can. Cleaner employment means that one very prestigious one, not like cutting the woods or taking things from here and there, some reasonable job. So, can you write? He asked. He said, yes, I can. Then take this letter to a friend of mine tomorrow and you will be given some copying to do. Work hard, don't drink, and remember what I have said to you. Goodbye. So he gave him one letter to give to his friend, and then he said that you will get a work of writing. Pleased to having put a man on the right path, Sergey tapped Lushkov kindly on the shoulder. So he was very pleased with himself that I have made one man sober out of a drunkard, and he tapped his shoulder. And from that day forth came no more to the yard for work. So Lushkov went to the person with the letter, and from that day his life changed. 2 years went by. Then one evening, as Sergey was standing at the ticket window of a theatre, paying for his seat, he noticed a little man beside him with a coat collar of curly fur and a worn sealskin cap. This little individual timidly asked the ticket seller for a seat in the gallery and paid for it in copper coins. Okay, so when Sergey was buying ticket for the theatre, he found that a little man was there dressed in nice clothes. He was just beside him. He asked, Lushkov, is that you? Cried Sergey, recognizing the little man, his former woodchopper. How are you? What are you doing? How is everything with you? So he recognized that he was Lushkov. All right, I am a notary now and I am paid 35 rubles a month. Earlier, hardly he was getting half a ruble a month. Now 35 rubles he was earning because of his hard-earned, it was his hard-earned money. Thank heaven, that's fine. I am delighted for your sake. I am very, very glad, Lushkov. You see, you are my godson. In a sense, I gave you a push along the right path, you know. Do you remember what a roasting I gave you, huh? I nearly had you sinking into the ground in my feet that day. Thank you, old man, for not forgetting my words. So here in the picture you see in the red coat was Sergey, and here the beggar Lushkov. Okay, so he said that you must be very happy now. I motivated you to do this job and I changed your life in a sense. Thank you too, said Lushkov. If I hadn't come to you, then I might still have been calling myself a teacher or a student to this day. Yes, by flying to your protection, I dragged myself out of a pit. So he said that yes, I am very grateful to you. Because of you, I came there and I stopped being what I was. I am very glad indeed, replied Sergey. Thank you for your kind words and deeds. I am very grateful to you and to your cook. Lushkov said, I am very grateful to you and your cook. God bless that good old noble woman. You spoke finely then, and I shall be indebted to you to my dying day. But strictly speaking, it was your cook, Olga, who saved me. Okay, so he said that I am very grateful to you. You have helped me, yes, but I am more grateful to your cook, Olga. She is the one who saved me. How is that? When I used to come to your house to chop wood, she used to begin, Oh, you sot, oh, you miserable creature, there's nothing for you but ruin. And then she would sit down opposite me and grow sad. So she used to scold me first, Lushkov said. Then she used to weep, she used to look sad. Oh, you unlucky man, there's no pleasure for you in this world, and there will be none in the world to come. You drunkard, you will burn in hell. Oh, you unhappy one. So she is saying all those things in a positive way also, that how bad your life is and whatever it is. And so she would carry on. In that strain, I can't tell you how much misery she suffered. So Lushkov says that I can tell you that she used to feel the pain that I was going through. She used to feel like it was happening with her also. How many tears she shed for my sake. But the chief thing was, she used to chop the wood for me. Okay, see, the old lady, she used to do the work that was given to Sergey because Lushkov, and she used to chop the wood for him. Do you know, sir, that I did not chop one single stick of wood for you? She did it all. Why this saved me? Why I changed? Why I stopped drinking at the sight of her? I cannot explain. I only know that owing to her words and noble deeds, a change took place in my heart. She set me right, and I shall never forget it. However, it is time to go now. There goes the bell. Lushkov bowed and departed to the gallery. Very, very beautiful ending to a very beautiful story. You see, earlier we were thinking that Sergey, how kind a man he was. Yes, he helped in a sense to Lushkov. He was very helpful. But if we see in the larger picture, what he did, he made a drunkard chop the woods. Okay, a very weak man, you are asking a weak fellow to chop the woods, how much strength it requires. He gave him the work, but he didn't think that how he will do it. It was Olga who helped him really, because in that state the beggar could never chop the woods, and Olga realized it and helped him. So yes, Sergey was helpful, but he was not very much thinking. He just was doing the thing because he was thinking that yes, he is helping a poor chap and it is good and all. But Olga was the one who really sympathized with the poor fellow. One thing is sympathy, one is empathy. Sergey had sympathy. He was feeling sympathetic with the poor fellow, but Olga was feeling empathy. Empathy means when you treat others' pain like your own, you feel every thing that they are going through. So see how beautiful the story was. The man changed because he was seeing that a poor old lady is doing so much hard work for me. So this is how the story concludes, and I hope that you have liked it, you have enjoyed it, you have understood the story. And now you're going to do the word meanings and the question answers from the book. And if any doubts are there, any queries are there, always feel free to ask. So I am Aman from DPS Haldwani Lamachor. You are watching PTO classes. Thank you so much for watching the lecture.